This is our first child and he was born a few days ago. We've been together for 4 years and he wasn't really planned as I don't believe we're in a stable enough position to have children. She was supposedly on the pill as neither of us liked the feel of condoms. But that's another story. She dated a guy for about 8 years and he was her first BF. The story is that they drifted apart and he ended it, but she was still in love with him. We met a few months later and were friends before we started dating. I got the impression that she was never really over him at the start of the relationship, but it seems she moved on after the years, and when he moved back to our city 2 years ago she didn't seem phased. We met him twice and there didn't seem to be anything weird going on, so I assumed she was completely over him. When we discovered she was pregnant, it was her decision to keep it. I said we weren't ready for children yet as we weren't married and didn't own a place yet, but she was adamant on keeping it. We argued back and forth over names and went through various we have 5 vetoes each, but around 2 months ago we settled on a name that we were both happy with. The baby is born. Everyone is smiles and we're finally back home. It's time to register the birth and I need to sign the birth certificate. However, to my surprise, the baby isn't called the name we agreed upon but the same name as her ex. Not just the same name, but the same middle name as well, and then our surnames. After we agreed we'd use both our surnames and forego the use of a middle name. I couldn't blow my top, of course, as she's still recuperating at home, plus there's this whole worldwide mess going on, so I should be happy all 3 of us are back home and safe. I did however ask her about it. She said that it was just a spur of a moment thing where she'll fob me off by saying she's too exhausted to talk about it. She's been fobbing me off for a few days now, so in the end I told her, calmly, that I'm not signing the birth certificate until we change the name back to what we agreed. This caused a bit of a row with her and she's now refusing to talk to me until I sign the certificate and agree to the name. I'm at somewhat of a loss here as to what to do. I didn't want a child in the first place, but I was browbeaten into going along with it. And now the name we agreed on is taken away from me, and to add insult to injury she's named the boy after her ex, and I'm now plagued with doubt and wondering if I should get a paternity test or whether she's still in love with him. Story 2. I 31 male recently had my cousin male 21 move in with me after he got kicked out of his college dorm and had no job to pay for rent. My parents told me I needed to step up and help because I own a house, live alone with my 2 golden retrievers and 2 birds that I had since last year. My cousin would make fun of me whenever I call my pets family, and thinks I'm crazy. He has a bad sense of humor and thinks he's funny. He calls me funny nicknames like Robot, Terminator, Optimus Prime and others because I wear a prosthetic leg that I've gotten after I had an infection 2 years ago. I've been patient with him causing a mess and not even doing his own laundry. It's been 3 months. And it's too much already. So recently he started doing pranks and using personal things in his pranks, like clothes, my phone, stuff from the kitchen, etc. I usually take off my prosthesis before going to bed, and since I work all day I got to bed early. Unlike him, he stays up till 3 to 4 a.m. He decided to do a prank and hid my prosthesis somewhere. I saw that it was gone in the morning. He did it twice before and hid it in his room and the garage. I had enough of his bullshit. I asked him where he took it and he joked and said that it was inside the fridge. I was livid. I started screaming at him to stop it and to tell me where my prosthesis was before I kick him out. He realized I was being serious and told me that it was in the attic. I let him go get it, and when he brought it to me he looked worried and started apologizing when I saw the socket had cracks, the adjustment pyramid and pylon were damaged. He told me he hid it under the old TV and didn't think it was this fragile. It was there overnight, so the damage has already been done. I lost my shit. I yelled at him while all he did was apologize, saying it was just a prank, bro, which made it worse. I told him to leave and called my aunt to tell her about what her son did and that she needed to pay for the damages. Her reaction was shocking. She said that it was my fault because I knew how her son is and decided to take him in anyway, and that she won't take responsibility for his actions. I told her I'd seriously sue because I'm broke and have no money to pay for a prosthesis and crutches are unbearable. I was so angry. I kept lashing out at everyone, especially my mom and dad, who argued with me and said that I can't sue family. And this is my cousin and he meant no harm. I told them that he created this situation and needed to fix it. They called me awful for refusing to wait till Christmas is over and family gathering is over, then they'll figure something out. I told them to stay out of it, but until now they're telling me to not cause an issue. We're in the holidays and suing my cousin will make them look bad to everyone. I'm stuck here with crutches, feeling awful after they all tried to shut me up and told me to wait till holidays are over, then they'll raise money for me and my cousin gets away with it. Edit. My dad offered to fix it himself, but this is ridiculous. He thinks that this is some object like a CD player or a TV he can fix. I called him ridiculous to his face and I didn't let him touch it. He clearly thinks it's no big deal. I stopped taking his calls after that because he doesn't realize how big of an issue this is. Story 3. My older sister Jess has been married for the last decade to her husband Michael. Michael was a widower with 5 kids when they met. The kids are now Kyle, Ella, Josie, Emma, and Chase. Jess and Michael also have 2 kids together who are 5 and 2. To make a long story very short, Kyle and Ella have never accepted my Jess in their lives, and I will say here now, they despise my sister for marrying their dad. They despise her for being their younger sibling's mom, and they despise her for having more children with their dad. They have never stopped despising her. Over the last 10 years my sister has talked to me so many times about how much she has struggled to find a bond with Kyle and Ella. She has tried. I will never say she hasn't. But they don't want anything to do with her. They have acted out so many times. They have been in therapy, but they don't want it. And it feels like they are always being grounded for treating my sister like shit and ignoring the youngest 2. I remember at our brother's wedding 2 years ago, Kyle had an outburst in front of everyone that my sister was nothing and she needed to fuck off and leave him and his siblings alone because they would never really love her. And she would never be as good as their mom was. Michael tried to get him out of there, but Kyle was mad. The venom in his words was mind-blowing, and honestly it was then I truly believed he truly hated my sister. Before that I had bought what everyone said, that he and Ella just needed time to come to terms. But I truly believe he hates her. This brings me on to why I am writing this. Back in early February my oldest turned 3. And we had a small party at home with some family and close friends. Kyle and Ella treated us terribly, and while it's not exactly a shock that they don't like us, Ella told my 3-year-old that they weren't cousins and to fuck off and leave her and her brother alone. Then she and Kyle made a big deal out of being included in a photo of all the cousins, which led to them both making my brother's son and their sister cry because none of us are their family, and we can all fuck off and leave them the fuck alone. They also said something about my sister that blew us all away. Jess and Michael left with the kids, and afterward I thought about it and I decided that enough was enough, and I needed to protect my kids. So I told Jess that Kyle and Ella are not welcome in my home and they will not be invited to further parties. Jess thinks I'm behaving unfair because they are family, and how will they ever come around if they are excluded? I think she's a little crazy to think they will come around. An ITA. Story 4. This is a little complicated. My girlfriend and I are 19, and despite all the protection we use, she still somehow got pregnant. My older sister practically raised me. Our parents were absent most of her childhood and, like all of mine, our older brother looked after us. Anyway, I literally call her mom. We're that close. She calls me her firstborn. She's got 3 legal sons, all adopted. They're basically my younger brothers and I love them to death. So naturally I called her when we found out about the pregnancy. She calmed us down and explained our options. We knew we did not want to be parents, but my girlfriend said she didn't really want an abortion but didn't want another child to go into the system. Anyway, scheduled an appointment to get the baby vamooshed. When my sister called again, she said she would adopt our baby if we really didn't want to go through with the abortion. Yada yada. That was like 3 months ago. A few friends started asking about names last week when we eventually told them, and we basically explained that we weren't keeping the baby. A friend of ours has been trying for a baby with her husband for like 2 years. We knew, but didn't think much of it. She contacted us asking what we were doing with the baby. I explained that my older sister was going to adopt them. I guess she found my sister through my Instagram or something and angrily messaged us that she already has 3 kids and we should think about mothers who can't have children and want one. At this point we realized what the issue was, and I explained that her children were adopted and she hasn't had them as babies, and we want to keep baby in the family. She didn't reply, but one of her and my girlfriend's mutual friend messaged me asking if I'd reconsider. I told her no, this baby was going to my sister, and messaged me again and basically said it was so hard to find a white baby and practically begging to reconsider. I'm biracial, white passing. My sister is not. I got angry and told her I didn't want some white girl stripping another child of their culture, sent her on her way. It's divided our friends. Some think that she was racist, and some think she's just desperate for a baby. My sister says we can do what we want with the baby, but her home is always open. I think the baby should still go to my sister, but my girlfriend was really affected by M's words and is concerned that we could be giving a young woman what she desperately wants. We have months to decide, but I'm torn. An ITA.